At the beginning of 2024, when I was setting all of my annual goals, I said my overarching goal was to enter my It Girl era. That's the way that I wrote it down in the goals section of my Notion plan. And I think that translated into a lot of the growth that I've seen on social media this year. I hit 100K on Instagram earlier this year, which was my big goal for 2024 as well. Outside of that, I honestly just do feel like my habits are better in general in things like health, fitness, organization, style. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on where I was 12 months ago versus where I am today and all of the little habits that I think helped me get there. So that's what I want to talk about in today's video. I have a gigantic list here of things that have made my life better in 2024. So if your goal for 2025 is to focus on yourself more, build better habits, you can try to implement these things as well. I have a big list here, so I want to get straight into that. I separated these things into 5 different categories. I have organization, health and wellness, money, aesthetics, and products. So I'm going to go through each of these categories and talk about all of the things that have made my life better in 2024. Up first, we have organization, and I think this is the best one to start with because thinking back to where I was 12 months ago, I was an absolute disaster when it came to organizing, especially my apartment. It's mid-November when I'm filming this, and mid-November last year, I was actually doing a series on my TikTok channel called 30 Days of Doing Things That I Don't Want to Be Doing. And basically every single day I would vlog doing one thing that I didn't want to be doing, exactly what it was called. And almost every single day it was something revolving keeping my apartment clean. Last November, I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Pittsburgh, and now I live in a 2-bedroom apartment in Nashville. And my 1-bedroom apartment in Pittsburgh, I'm not kidding, was always a disaster. I could not keep that space clean. I've honestly never really had good habits around keeping my apartment clean in general. When I lived with roommates, it wasn't so bad because I was sort of forced to keep up with keeping my apartment clean because I was sharing those living spaces. But that 1-bedroom apartment in Pittsburgh was the first time that I ever lived by myself, and I could not keep it clean. At the beginning of 2024, I knew I wanted this to be a focus area for me, and I knew I wanted to get better at it. But it honestly wasn't really until end of May, early summer that I started to be a lot better with keeping my apartment clean and building those good habits. So the first thing that made my life better in the organization category was better daily habits around keeping my apartment clean. And I feel like the reason why I could never keep my space clean was because I was always thinking about it as these large Sunday resets. All week I could just be throwing things everywhere because my job was to clean my apartment on Sunday. It wasn't until I really shifted my thinking around okay, I need to spend a little bit of time every single day keeping my apartment clean instead of just waiting until the weekend and doing this large reset. The second thing that I started implementing in 2024 were Friday resets as opposed to Sunday resets. So like I said, throughout the week, I'm spending about 30 minutes every single day picking up my apartment and generally staying in a clean space. But then obviously there are larger things that you have to do on a weekly basis, like vacuuming, washing your sheets, doing laundry. And I used to try to do those things on Sunday, doing the Sunday reset. I feel like that's super popular. But I heard a tip at the beginning of 2024 to do a Friday afternoon reset as opposed to a Sunday reset. And the whole idea is to go into the weekend with a clean space to actually be able to enjoy your weekend in your space, as opposed to waiting until Sunday to clean up the weekend's mess and not be able to get ready for the following week. So I typically spend about an hour every Friday doing a Friday afternoon reset, and I'll do some of those bigger cleaning items so that way I can enjoy my space throughout the entire weekend. The third thing that made my life better in 2024 is investing in a cozy space, especially because I work from home and I'm honestly just a homebody and I love being in my apartment. When I moved to Nashville in July, I really invested in putting my space together and putting money into making my space look and feel cozy. When I lived in Pittsburgh, I never spent literally any money on decorations, candles, throw pillows, anything like that. You don't realize how having a put together apartment actually makes you feel. And I enjoy my time in my space in Nashville so much more than I ever did in my apartment in Pittsburgh. I listed a couple things here that really stuck out to me in terms of having a quote unquote cozy space. You can kind of see it back there, but under my kitchen cabinets, there is under cabinet lighting. I don't have to turn the overhead light on most of the time. I just keep those lights on and it kind of I don't know, sets the mood. Same thing for lamps. I have a big floor lamp in my living room. I have matching lamps in my bedroom. So I never turn my bedroom light on. I just turn on the matching lamps and it kind of makes the space look and feel more cozy. Drawer organizers are the next one. When I moved into Nashville, I was okay, everything is going to have a space in this apartment, especially in my bathroom. I have a ton of acrylic drawers from Amazon and I feel like that helps my space stay clean and organized. The next one in the organization category is becoming more minimalist, and my move to Nashville honestly did wonders for this. I was always a minimalist in terms of what my apartment looked like. Like I said, when I was in Pittsburgh, I really didn't decorate my apartment and all the walls were pretty bare, but where I wasn't a minimalist was like all of the things that I own. I would go into my closet and I had a million clothes hanging up. You would look in my kitchen cabinets and I had a million like plates and cups and just miscellaneous things in my kitchen. But when I moved to Nashville, I only brought what could fit in my car. So that really did force me to like purge a lot of stuff. I purged so many clothes in my closet. I got rid of so many kitchen things. I really only brought what I use on a day-to-day basis, and it really teaches you what you need and what you don't need, and you don't need that much. That has helped me a lot in the organization front because you have less things to keep organized. Then the last thing in the organization category is planners on Notion. This is less about apartment organization and more about kind of like to-do list organization and being digitally organized. Prior to 2024, I didn't really have a system for how I kept like my to-do lists and things like that. I would write to-do lists on like little pieces of paper. I would keep to-do lists in my notes app on my phone. It was just kind of like everywhere, and I didn't have a good system for it. At the beginning of 2024, I was determined to become a Notion girl, and I spent a month or so putting together a Notion planner. I really kept up with using that in 2024, and I also spent a lot of time kind of like perfecting and refining that template. So the 2025 version of my Notion planner just came out, and it has a daily, a weekly, a monthly planner. I keep track of all of my goals in there, so my annual goals, my quarterly goals, and it's just been totally a game changer for me in knowing what I have to do every single day, not keeping a million random to-do lists all over the place, and just having kind of like a single source of truth. The next category is health and wellness. I have 6 things on my list here, and I will say I was already at a decent point at the beginning of 2024 in my health and fitness habit. I would say the biggest transformation for me here happened in 2021, 2022, like after college time frame. That's when I started learning about tracking my macros. That's when I started strength training, all of the things. But I still think I made a lot of progress this year. I feel like all of these categories, these are things that you continue to improve on throughout your life. It's not like oh, I built my habit and now I'm done. I'm like good and I'm perfect at it. So with that, the first thing that made my life better in 2024 in the health and fitness category is ClassPass. Prior to the second half of 2024, when I moved down to Nashville, I have never been a fitness class person. I took a few fitness classes in college, but honestly never got into it. I always told myself my hour in the gym is my me time. I like going by myself and doing my own thing. And I still do work out by myself like 4 to 5 times per week. But when I moved down to Nashville, I signed up for ClassPass. And with that, I started doing fitness classes 1 to 2 times per week. So I'm like mixing up my workouts between going to the gym and going to fitness classes. And I have seen so many benefits from doing this, not from an aesthetic standpoint. I honestly don't think my body composition has changed much throughout 2024, but I've seen a lot of other benefits just from switching up my workouts. The first thing, I'm not getting bored of my workouts. So I'm switching things up between strength training in the gym, low impact cardio at the gym. So I do a lot of incline walking. I'll go to the gym and walk at an incline for like 45 minutes to an hour. But then I'm switching that up with going to fitness classes like Pilates, hot yoga. I'll do some HIIT classes here and there. I went to a boxing class a couple times in Nashville. It does help so much to not get bored of your workouts, but then also I think it kind of like shocks your body a little bit. When I'm going to the gym and working out on my own, I do feel like I sort of get into a rut and I'm like, okay, I've been doing the same exact workouts for literally months and I need to switch it up. And then the other benefit I've seen of doing ClassPass is since you're able to book just like one fitness class here and there at a bunch of different locations, you can book the type of workout that makes the most sense for you depending on how much energy you have. So I know for me, I've talked about this a lot on my channel, but I'm not on hormonal birth control and I track my cycle. And I know my body very, very well at this point, and I know that at different points in my cycle, I have vastly different energy levels. So on the week that I'm like about to get my period, I don't have a lot of energy and maybe I book a hot yoga class. Then right after my period, I have a ton of energy and maybe I book a HIIT workout. ClassPass really does allow for that variation as opposed to getting a membership at one fitness studio and having to do the exact same workout regardless of how you feel. The next thing that has made my life drastically better in 2024 in the health and wellness category is developing a good daily walking routine. For the last couple of years, I've gotten a decent amount of steps every single day because I do have a dog and my dog needs walked. She's a golden retriever, so she needs a lot of exercise. But when I lived in Pittsburgh, my apartment complex had a dog park, so I would take her on like 1 or 2 little walks throughout the day, but then to get her energy out, I would mainly take her to the dog park so that she could run around, which was great for her, but then I wasn't taking a lot of steps during that time. When I moved down to Nashville, there isn't a dog park in my complex. I will take her there a couple times a week, but I'm walking her so much more and I've developed such better habits around taking her on walks. At this point, I really don't have a problem hitting 10,000 steps in a day, and I honestly do feel so much better when I'm walking consistently. I do feel like I would be significantly worse at getting a lot of of steps in throughout the day if I didn't have a dog, so I don't have a lot of tips there. But I think one thing that I realized this year is if you want to go for a walk, it doesn't have to be this big like hour-long walk. I heard this on a podcast the other day and it was saying like maybe if your neighborhood is a 10-minute loop, how many times a day can you do that loop? Instead, you could think about it as like little 10-minute walks here or there. Maybe a loop around your neighborhood is a 10-minute loop. Just throw your tennis shoes on and go for a 10-minute walk. How many times throughout the day can you do that? You could probably do it 5 or 6 times, and all of a sudden there's your hour-long walk and you didn't even really feel like that. I also really love habit stacking my walks with something else, so that's a really great time to like call your mom or listen to a podcast, which I try to do once per day. If I'm walking on the treadmill at the gym as opposed to outside on the road, I do a lot on my phone work-wise. So I do a lot of answering emails or editing videos. I obviously don't do that when I'm walking outside for safety reasons, and so I don't run into things. But if you're on the treadmill, you could definitely habit stack that with a lot of other things as well. Walking is so good for you. I don't know how true this is, but I heard it on a podcast one time that our organs need like 5,000 steps a day just to like function properly. Like a lot of us are not getting enough steps in consistently throughout the day. So walking will change your life. The next one on my list in the health and wellness category is replacing scroll time and also brain rot TV with podcasts. This might be surprising as someone who is literally a full-time content creator on social media, but I do not scroll on social media really at all. I might spend up to an hour per week scrolling on TikTok. I'm not even kidding. It's because I got to a point where I realized that scrolling on social media made me feel so terrible. Every time I do it, I just get like such anxiety. I don't know what it is, but I severely limited my scroll time. And then on the brain rot TV, I feel like I really don't watch a lot of TV either, if I'm being totally honest. And when I do, it's when I'm very intentionally having like an entire day where I want to turn my brain off and literally not think about anything, just like stare in front of the TV, which I do probably like once a month, but I'm severely limiting it because I just feel like a lot of the shows that we're watching are not filling our brains with good things. For example, I just watched Tell Me Lies on Hulu, and again, it was one of those things like I wanted a show to watch to binge on a day where I wanted to do absolutely nothing and just rot on the couch. And Tell Me Lies is about this like super toxic couple in college, like a super toxic relationship. And every single time I watch an episode of it, I'm like, I'm getting dumber. And this also isn't reinforcing like good habits and good relationships. I just feel like everything we're inputting into our bodies is like what becomes our reality. On the flip side of that, in 2024, I got a lot better at consistently listening to podcasts. I do this a lot when I'm walking on the treadmill. I also do this a lot when I'm cleaning around my apartment. So that 30 minutes a day that I'm spending cleaning up my apartment every single day, I'm turning on a podcast and I'm listening to something that's uplifting, motivational. I like to learn a lot about like health, fitness, nutrition through podcasts, just filling my brain with things that actually make me feel better as opposed to things that give me anxiety. Going off of that, the next thing that has made my life better in 2024, I labeled this meditating. Now, I have never been someone that has ever in my life sat down on the couch with my eyes closed and been like, okay, I'm gonna meditate for 5 minutes. I don't do that. But throughout 2024, I realized that a lot of my habits and routines meant that I was meditating inherently. And this is what I mean by that. So the practice of meditating is honestly just giving yourself time to be alone in your thoughts. And I do that a lot throughout the day. I never drive with music, like really ever. Maybe once a month I'll turn music on in the car. I really don't even listen to podcasts in the car. I'm like driving in silence 90% of the time. I would say when I am walking on the treadmill or walking outside, there's a pretty like 50-50 split between listening to a podcast and walking in silence, which actually does sound insane, like to walk on the treadmill for an hour not listening to anything. But I love being alone in my thoughts so much. I think especially living by myself, I give myself so much time and space just to like think super clearly, and it has been so transformational for me. I'm not even kidding. I cook dinner in silence. I eat dinner in silence. I don't watch a lot of TV, so most of the time, all night, I'm just like sitting here and it's quiet in my apartment. I feel like everyone should go through a phase in their 20s where they live by themselves. Again, giving yourself time to be alone in your thoughts actually did change my life. Then the last one in the health and wellness category might be a little bit obvious, but limiting alcohol has totally changed my life. 2024 really has been the year that I have like severely limited alcohol and really rethought my relationship with alcohol. I was a pretty big social drinker in college. I definitely went through a phase, especially when I studied abroad, that I was drinking like multiple times a week heavily. I kind of got out of it a little bit once I graduated from college, but I was still drinking more than I'd like to. But in 2024, I got like very intentional about when I want to drink and then how much I was drinking. I honestly have not been like totally drunk the entire year of 2024, which is incredible. I don't think that I've really had a hangover in 2024. I've definitely drank socially. I've had like a couple glasses of wine here, a couple cocktails here, but I've really been limiting it lately and I felt a lot better from that. So I'm going to continue doing that moving forward. The next category for things that have made my life better in 2024 is obviously money. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this category because I obviously talk about money in almost every single one of my YouTube videos. So I don't want to repeat myself. You can go back and watch a lot of my other videos if you want more tips on becoming more financially literate, getting your finances together, all of the things, but I want to talk about two things specifically that have really made a difference in 2024. The first one is leveraging sinking funds so that I don't feel guilty for spending my money on bigger things. When I say sinking funds, if you're not familiar with that term, I use it all the time, but a sinking fund is just a savings account for a very specific thing. So instead of just having like one gigantic savings account where you're just like throwing money in aimlessly every month, you have different little savings accounts to save for, like, let's say you're taking a trip in 2025 that you want to save for, or let's say you are saving up for a new car, you would have like a car fund. So you're just setting up little sub accounts in your savings account and you're saving for a very specific thing. I use SoFi, it's a high yield savings account, and it lets you set up little buckets super easily and automate that so that you don't have to remember to actually save your money every month. I have a referral for a SoFi account. If you want to organize your money like this, I will leave that in the description of this video. And then the second one, I called this one romanticizing my money routine. I definitely did this in 2023, but I really got this down in 2024 and going into 2025. But essentially, if you know me, you know that every Monday morning I have my weekly money routine. I make my coffee on Monday morning, I go to my computer, and first thing I pull up my budget template, which I made to look like super aesthetic and cute and like in my favorite colors. And I spend 10 minutes pulling up all of my credit card transactions, logging everything, seeing how much I spent last week. And again, if you've been following me, you know that tracking my spending has been so huge for making financial progress and holding me accountable for the money that I'm spending. But it makes it a lot more exciting when you kind of like romanticize it a little bit, like love the budget template that you're pulling up every Monday. Do it when you make your coffee so that you're in a good mood and you're feeling good sitting down to your computer. Just encourages you to do it more consistently, which is the entire point. Next category of things that made my life better in 2024, I labeled this category aesthetics. And like I said at the beginning of this video, my overarching goal for 2024, I called it entering my it girl era. Essentially, the entire idea was that in 2024, I really wanted to focus on myself, feel like my own Pinterest girl, feel more confident in the way that I look, feel more put together. That was a really big one for me. I feel like when you look at a Pinterest girl, she's like so put together, her outfit, her hair, her makeup, the accessories, all of the things. And I wanted to embody more of that in 2024. And I feel like I made a lot of progress. So here are some things that have helped. First one is a big one for me, and I just did it a couple of months ago, but in 2024, I actually worked with a stylist to help me build my wardrobe. I worked with her for a month, and in that time we did things like cleaning out my closet. Once we cleaned out my closet, we spent a lot of time building outfits with the pieces that I already have. So she helped me kind of see like how I could make outfits using the pieces that I already have hanging in my closet. And then from there, she helped me identify the gaps in my wardrobe for like, okay, if I see a Pinterest outfit and then I'm looking at the pieces I have in my closet, what are those gaps to help me be able to recreate more of the outfits that I want in my head? I could talk about this experience so much because it was so beneficial for me, but we actually have an entire podcast episode on things that I learned. We brought the stylist that I worked with onto the podcast to talk through building a wardrobe you love, so definitely go check out that podcast episode if you want to learn more. The second thing that made my life better in 2024 in the aesthetics category is actually putting effort into my appearance every single day, despite working from home. This has helped me so much with my productivity. I'm not even kidding. I used to work from home in sweatpants all the time, and not even just in sweatpants, but like my hair would be in a bun, I wouldn't have any makeup on. I just didn't feel good on a day-to-day basis, and when you're working, that's like such a big majority of your life, so I honestly never felt good. This was also the same time period that my apartment was always a mess, and I was in a one-bedroom, so I was working from my living room. So just imagine me in a super messy apartment in sweatpants with my hair in a bun and no makeup on. I just never felt good. In 2024, I wanted to challenge myself to get ready on most days. Like for example, it's a Sunday right now, and I am in leggings and a sweatshirt. I'm not doing the most, but I washed my hair this morning. I blow dried it, so it dried nicely. I have makeup on. I just feel a lot better. During the week, I try to put on some type of a cute outfit. I'm never really in jeans, but if I put on like cuter leggings and a sweater, I'm just not wandering around my apartment in my pajamas and sweatpants with like ratty hair. The next thing that made my life better in 2024 in the aesthetics category, this is back to shopping and clothing. I said buying a piece for a specific outfit as opposed to aimless large shopping hauls. hauls. This might also be a hot take because I feel like we're told to not buy things for like one-time uses, but I've actually found that I shop a lot more intentionally when I buy something for a specific thing rather than just getting to a point where I hate everything in my closet and I go to the mall and I spend $400 aimlessly and then I still can't put outfits together because I don't know what goes with what. So for example, let's say you're going to dinner or to get drinks with your friends this weekend and you're thinking of your outfit and you're like, oh, I think this outfit would be cute, but I don't have the right top for that. Go buy that top, because you going to dinner with your friends is not a unique experience. You're gonna do that again. You're going to be in similar situations that you can make similar outfits and you're gonna wear that top again, as opposed to, again, going to the mall on a random Saturday and just aimlessly picking things up and being like, oh, this sweater would be cute for something, and you never feel like you actually have anything to wear. The next thing that made my life better in 2024 is actually washing my hair instead of using dry shampoo. I feel like this is becoming a universal learning in 2024 that if your hair is dirty, wash it. Whereas before 2024, if your hair was dirty, you were told like, don't wash your hair more than once a week, use a bunch of dry shampoo. My hair is so much healthier now that I wash it almost like every other day or once every 3 days, rather than just sitting around in ratty, dirty hair with a ton of dry shampoo in it. I really never use dry shampoo anymore. I have it just in case I need it for like an event or something, but my hair feels so much better now that I'm not putting a bunch of gunk in it. And the last 2 things on this list, I've just been thinking a lot about when I look at pictures and videos of myself from 2023 versus 2024. And the big thing that made my life significantly better in 2024 was going back to my natural hair color. I'll put some photos up of what I looked like this time last year. My hair was so bleach blonde. It's like not even funny, like so bright. And I've had blonde hair basically my entire life. I started getting highlights when I was in the 5th grade and I've always been like a super bright bottle blonde. And in 2024, I just got an inkling that like, this isn't serving me anymore. And I went back to my natural hair color and I will literally never go back. I had such bad hair blindness. It's not even funny. I look back at what I looked like with blonde hair and I was like, what was I doing? First of all, spending so much money every like 6 to 8 weeks to keep up with my highlights because my hair is naturally very dark. Also just damaging my hair so bad when my natural hair color looks totally fine and it is so low maintenance. And the last thing on this list kind of goes with that. It's just keeping up with good self-care habits. The 2 that are most impactful for me are I have a really good self-tanning routine and then I also have a really good routine around keeping my teeth whitened. I'm not a huge makeup girl. I don't put a ton of makeup on my face. This is like the most amount of makeup that you will ever see me wearing, but I feel my best when I am relatively tan and I have white teeth. So those are my 2 like high maintenance to be low maintenance self-care routines that keeping up with has changed my life in 2024. And then the last category for things that have made my life better in 2024, this category is products. And I didn't want this video to just be like a ton of products to make you go out and buy for things that made my life better. All of the other things on this list were like relatively free, but I said to myself, if I chose 5 products that honestly did make a big difference in my life this year, what would they be? I didn't purchase all of these products in 2024, but they did make a difference for me in 2024. The first one I purchased in 2023, and it's my Breville espresso machine. I just posted a video on my TikTok and my Instagram about this the other day. I was basically breaking down the cost of my Breville versus how much money I think it saved me on going to get lattes at a coffee shop this year. And it was like $800 in year 1. And that's counting the cost of the machine and also the supplies like the coffee beans and the almond milk to make my own lattes at home. And obviously the savings are going to be even greater in year 2 because I am not buying the machine every single year. I'll have it for the rest of my life. At this point in my life, I'm not going to say that I never go to coffee shops. I definitely do, but I go for different reasons now since I do make my coffees at home 4 to 5 times per week. The only way that I'll get coffee at a coffee shop is 1, if I'm going with a friend. So if it's like an experience to go to the coffee shop and hang out with my friend and sit there and chat for a couple of hours, or if I'm going to a coffee shop to work. I do work from home, but sometimes I just like to get out of my apartment and change the scenery for a couple of hours. So I will spend the $8 on a latte to have that change of scenery. It's kind of like paying for a co-working space. The second one I purchased in 2022, and it's my Dyson Airwrap. I am so obsessed with this thing. It's not even funny. And the reason why it has made my life significantly better is because I can get ready for, I'm not kidding, literally anything in 15 minutes. If my hair is washed and I know the outfit that I'm going to wear in my head, I can get ready for anything in 15 minutes. Again, I don't wear a ton of makeup, so my makeup routine takes me like 7 minutes max. And then my Dyson Airwrap, I'm not even kidding, I separate my hair like this and I do like 6 curls on each side and I have wavy and good looking hair to do whatever I'm doing that night. Also the smoothing attachment on my Dyson, today I just blow dry my hair and then I use the smoothing attachment to make it like smooth and shiny and not frizzy. That purchase has definitely made my life better. The third one is my iPad. I bought this in the middle of 2024 and it has been the best investment I've literally ever made. I love this thing so much. I've been working on making my iPad layout super aesthetic aesthetic because I think it helps with like productivity and stuff. But my iPad is what I do like 80% of my work on. I edit a lot of YouTube videos on this. I pull up my Notion planner on this. So not only is my planner aesthetic, but my iPad is aesthetic. I just love this thing so much. I use it for everything. I am planning on making an iPad tour video by the end of the year so that you guys can see exactly how I use my iPad. And then the last two things on this list, I made myself choose one clothing item and one beauty item. So if I had to choose an MVP in the clothing and the beauty category for this year, these are my favorites. Clothing, I picked a shoe. These are the Nike V2K sneakers. I bought these 4 or 5 months ago and they were the best purchase ever. I want to get another pair of these, but in my closet, the only sneakers that I had were very athletic looking sneakers like my Hokas. I didn't have a sneaker that was very lifestyle that I could like wear to the gym, but also if I had activewear on, I could still make myself look very put together. I feel like if we're talking making ourselves look more like a Pinterest girl, having a lifestyle sneaker is a really good investment piece in your closet, and these ones have been really great for me. And then in the beauty category, I could not pick one, I had to pick two, so these are tied for my favorite products for 2024. The first one is the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. I've been using this product for years and it has completely replaced foundation for me, and that's the big reason why I love it. At this point, I do not own foundation. If I'm going to like, even if I'm going to like a wedding, I don't have foundation on my face. I'm only wearing this. It's just a tinted moisturizer, and I swear this makes my skin look so glowy and just like overall smooth. And then the other one, I had to include this one as well because in 2024, I started wearing SPF on my face every single day, which is a big improvement. However, I had to mention this product specifically because I had a lot of problems finding an SPF that worked for me. Every face sunscreen that I tried would always burn my eyes. Like I had this problem where I would put it on and then an hour later my eyes would be watering so bad I would be like crying because my eyes burned. I posted a TikTok video about this early in 2024 and a bunch of people were commenting on that video telling me to try Korean sunscreen. Got this on TikTok Shop. I know they have a website that you can order from as well. You might even be able to get it on Amazon. I don't really know. But this is the Beauty of Joseon. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but that's the brand of sunscreen that this is. I got this at the beginning of the year and it's like almost out. Clearly I've been using it a lot. I love this so much. It's the only one that I've been able to wear that does not burn my eyes. And it's SPF 50 plus with like all of the additional plus signs. I don't know what that means, but I heard that means it's a good sunscreen. So with that, that is a gigantic list of all of the things that have made my life better in 2024. This was a really fun video for me to make because it allowed me to reflect on 2024 and where I was this time last year versus where I am now. And I am so grateful for where my life's at. It's not even funny. If you would have told me last year that this is where I would be living in a new state, living in my dream apartment, feeling as confident as I do about myself, I would not have believed you. So this has been an amazing year and these are some of the things that have helped with that. So I hope this list was helpful for you guys, and definitely leave anything that has made your life better in 2024 in the comments of this video so that everyone can see those as well.